Could you tell us a little bit about brass band culture itself and why you all decided to form a brass band here in Nashville?
Yeah, so brass band culture, it really started with military bands. The fife and the drum, that's where it kind of started. And then as we got into like that Civil War era, that's when we started to introduce brass to those military bands. And then in the South, specifically in New Orleans, those military bands around the 1860s, they were like, it was a really heavy thing. And when the war ended, people continued to play those instruments. And so after that, when we speak on New Orleans specifically, we know about Congo Square in New Orleans, and you know, that was where the enslaved Africans were allowed once a week to go and play music, right? And so let's think about how that continued on after slavery, and now we have these military bands or these black musicians there, right? And we all know in New Orleans culture, the brass bands, they played during funerals and parades and things like that. That happened because a lot of Africans were looking for jobs and unions to join. They were joining these benevolent unions. And so that's where we get that tradition of the second line for the funeral, right? But then ultimately, brass bands are rooted in, so New Orleans brass bands are rooted in tradition and then innovation. And so the reason that we have this band is because we wanted, like, we always know growing up, or we heard growing up, when you want to play music, you have to stick out, right? And so if we're looking at that brass band tradition, that is an innovative tradition that's not happening here. And so with the pieces that you see or that you will see later on, like, this is an innovative thing in Nashville. And so that's pretty much what that is for us.